I wanted to make this video because I wanted to explain / give some suggestions / examples of how you can incorporate cannabis into your experience. And it really just depends on the person. So this can be like a sporadic thing or like a planned event. I have a blog. I wrote an article about conscious cannabis and how we incorporated it into a retreat that we did with 16 Canadian veterans. And it's a way that I continue to incorporate it into these retreats, or even just for myself, for me and my partner. If you're just by yourself hanging out, if you have a couple mom friends or you and your partner are hanging out and you wanted to do any of these videos with cannabis, there are times that if me and my partner have had like a long day, or like this past weekend, I was 3 hours away for a hockey tournament with my stepdaughter who's 14 for 2 nights and 3 days. And my partner, he was with his son, my stepson, who's 10, with him for a hockey tournament for the exact same amount of time, but in the total opposite direction. So we're like, how was your weekend? How are you doing today? And it's just like back and forth to the rink, back and forth, back and forth, and fitting in somewhere to eat and just like going, you know, like you don't really have time to think, and you have all these other kids around, and I am medicating as much as I can, and he is. But then we got home last night and it was like 7 o'clock. And we just sat in our 2 favorite chairs and shared like 3 joints and drank tea. And sometimes after that, I'm like, I just want to lay on the floor and do 2 yoga poses. And I do, because that is what my body is needing. Right now he has a back injury. So for him, just like staying still and not sitting for too long is really good for him. So sometimes there are times that like you just feel good from using cannabis, whether it's CBD, THC, smoking, vaping, an edible, whatever it is that you choose, and you're like, I just want to get out my mat, or I'm just going to go on the carpet or sit on the floor right now and do some yoga. Or there's been times that I'm places and I'm like, I just need to walk away from this group and go sit over here in the sun and close my eyes for 5 minutes and just sit on the ground. So you'll notice the more that you really commit / experience that feel-good feeling from using cannabis, the more that you will naturally feel called to add on to that feel-good feeling. Whether it's sitting, maybe doing the body scan that I've included with the Yoga Nidra and in some of these videos. Maybe it's just to not talk. Sometimes we talk a lot, people are talking at us, and you just want to go sit in the sun for 5 minutes. And this is a different time that you want to plan your cannabis usage with your yoga experience. It can be super simple. And there are times that I will have my joint in my hand and I'll just thank the medicine. Thank you, cannabis. Just thank you. And that's enough to put you in alignment and connection with the plant. So when you're smoking it, you start to really feel your inhale and exhaling it out. So you're already starting to get into that vibe, into that connection, into more of that meditative, I like to say intentional, but maybe it's also more of like focused, more of, I'm not just trying to get this joint into me because I'm extremely overwhelmed. It's like, I'm really going to feel this plant, or I'm vaping, whatever it is. Even before you take an edible, just looking at it and connecting and saying thank you. And maybe you have a purpose or reason that you're taking it. Maybe you're experiencing pain. So instead of just taking it and eating it and now it's in your body and you're waiting for it to work, you're saying, I'm taking this for my pain. And it could be a specific area. Maybe you're taking it for your well-being. Maybe you have anxiety. Maybe you've had a rough few days and you want to just choose love. So really starting with the connection, whether it's a thank you or your why. So those are two great ways to add intention to consumption. After that, another option is if it's you or someone else, you can do that more of a ritual of sharing. So whether it's passing the joint or you may have a pipe. We got this really cool one from the store when we were traveling. It's like wooden and it's super long and there's like feathers off of it, and it was like a couple bucks, but it looks like some awesome shaman person made it. And like, who knows, maybe they didn't, but I am going to tell myself that they did, because it's going to make my pipe experience of sharing this even better. Sometimes it's just a state of mind. So we put the medicine in there and we'll say thank you and set our intention, whether it's to heal pain or like open the heart or whatever it is. Inhale, exhale. Then I pass it on to my partner. He does the same thing. If you have more people, you keep passing it. If it needs to be refilled, you just refill it. And you kind of go back and forth or in a circle. And this is great for anyone who's also new to using cannabis, because you can just do the one puff or vape or bite of an edible and then you wait. And then think, do I want another one? Do I not? From there, you can then go into your yoga practice. So whatever way you choose to start, those are just ways to incorporate it because it's more intentional. And what I love about yoga is when I'm doing the poses, I'm doing the poses and I'm in the moment. And that's more about what that conscious experience is with the cannabis, is being in the moment. And so there's no right or wrong way to look at it. These are just ways to be in the moment. From there, you can go into a meditation. Anyone that I've shared, maybe just want to sit in silence. There are times that me and my partner will lay and we'll just put on awesome music. Like you can find some great meditation music on YouTube or iTunes, or my favorite, if you type in YouTube search 528 hertz frequency, that's the exact same frequency as the heart. I'm like crying sometimes. I'm like, my heart. Or sometimes I'm like laughing, or I'm just closing my eyes and I just feel bliss. Because it's really like just getting into that heart center. That's my favorite to search on YouTube. So sometimes I'll just put on music and lay. Other times I'll do a few poses. Other times I'll lead an hour class, or I'll go to a yoga class and maybe they all aren't using cannabis before, but I did in my house or out in my car, and then go into the yoga class. And it also depends on, are you doing more of a yin yoga class or a yoga nidra where it's meditative, it's slow, you want more of that body feeling. But if you're going into a flow and you're like, inhale, exhale, vinyasa, like going through a lot of poses, you're going to want more of a sativa or just a CBD. The CBD is going to take away like any of that pain and stiffness so you can really move and open up. So we're just thinking about what kind of yoga you're going into. And if you're at home, well, you can choose yourself. And I mean, it's just a few poses, a whole class. And then I love always ending with meditation or yoga nidra, because it just brings you back to your being and your center. And after yoga, I like to smoke another joint. Or we're in edibles, eat another edible. Or you may be good. You're like, I'm still on this bliss. I'm good for hours. And you don't even think about the next time you need to consume cannabis again until you're in the moment and you need it. And so these are just great tools for being in the moment, focusing. Again, if you're someone with PTSD, like these are all ways to just come into the moment, to the center, anxiety, if you're healing anything. And we really just want to grow this community, and I like to say the new way. So the new way of healing, the new way of being present, of loving, of consciousness, of spirit, just the new way. And to do that, it requires commitment for me to show up and make the content, but to keep speaking, to keep sharing, and then honoring every single person that lands on this page. And I'm really grateful for the community that has been created so far. And there's so many other women and so many men that are also starting to open up and be vulnerable and tap in more into that female energy, because really we need both, female and male. That's the ultimate balance of yin and yang. So thank you for being here, and I'm honored to be a part of this. Take care.